Hello guys, and welcome to this edition of AI Governance Engineering with myself, Gavin. So in 2010, cybersecurity compliance was spreadsheets and consultants. By 2015, GRC engineering was a recognized discipline with dedicated tools, frameworks, and career paths. Right now in 2025, AI governance is where GRC was in 2010, and a new discipline is emerging, AI Governance Engineering. So let me show you what's happening, why it matters, and what the industry desperately needs. The current state of AI governance. So here's what AI governance looks like at most companies right now. Option 1, the Big Four approach. Hire Deloitte, PwC, EY or KPMG for €30,000 to €50,000. Wait 6 to 8 weeks for a consultant to interview your team, get a 60-page PDF with generic recommendations, repeat every time regulations change, or you deploy a new AI system. Option 2, the DIY approach. Download the EU AI Act PDF checklists from the internet. Try to interpret 400 plus pages of legal text yourself. Build spreadsheets to track compliance requirements. Hope you don't miss anything when regulators come knocking. Option 3, the Enterprise GRC platform approach. Pay €50,000 to €500,000 per year for ServiceNow or OneTrust. Spend 6 months implementing and configuring. Realize it's built for SOC 2 and ISO 27001, not AI specific regulations. And you still need consultants to tell you what to do. Now, none of these options work for the companies that need them the most. Startups and small to medium enterprises. Deploying AI systems under the EU AI Act, managing AI risks under ISO 42001, or implementing the NIST AI framework. The Big Four are too expensive, DIY is too error-prone, enterprise platforms aren't built for AI governance, and this is the exact same problem GRC faced 15 years ago, and the solution is the same: we need a new discipline. So let me take you back to 2008 and 2012. So this is when GRC engineering emerged as a distinct discipline. So before GRC engineering, compliance was manual, spreadsheets, Word docs, email chains. Each audit was a fire drill, scrambling to find evidence, and consultants made millions doing repetitive assessments. There's no automation, no systems thinking, and no infrastructure. So what changed? Regulations proliferated: SOX, GDPR, HIPAA, PCI DSS, ISO 27001. Companies realized they needed continuous compliance, not point-in-time audits. So engineers started building systems, policy engines, evidence repositories, control frameworks, and tools emerged like Vanta, Drata, SecureFrame, and Tugboat Logic. So let's take a look at GRC engineering today. There's codified frameworks, NIST cybersecurity framework, CIS controls, SOC 2 automated evidence collection, integration with GitHub, AWS, Google Workspace. There's continuous monitoring, real-time compliance dashboards, API first platforms, and compliance as infrastructure. GRC engineering transformed compliance from a cost center into a competitive advantage. Companies could now prove security posture instantly, sales cycle shortened, audit costs dropped 70 to 80%, and now watch what's happening with AI governance. So what makes AI governance different? AI governance isn't just cybersecurity compliance, but for AI. It's a fundamentally different problem that requires a fundamentally different approach. So what makes AI governance unique then? Well, 1, it's lifecycle based, not perimeter based. With cybersecurity, you protect the boundary, firewalls, authentication, encryption. With AI governance, you manage the entire ML lifecycle, data, training, deployment, monitoring, and retirement. Secondly, it's risk-based, not control-based. With cybersecurity, implement these 50 controls, encrypt data, MFA, patch management. But in AI governance, classify your system by risk, then apply proportionate requirements, prohibited versus higher risk versus limited risk. Thirdly, technical plus social plus legal. With cybersecurity, it's mostly technical. Vulnerabilities, configurations, access controls, etc. AI governance, on the other hand, is technical with model performance, but it has a social element to it, such as bias and fairness, and also the legal side, such as fundamental rights and transparency. So as you can see, AI governance is dynamic, not static. With cybersecurity, controls stay relatively stable. change your passwords quarterly, patch within 30 days. With AI governance, models can drift, data distribution shift, regulations evolve rapidly. So with all that being said, what actually is AI governance engineering? Well, AI governance engineering is the practice of building systems, tools, and frameworks that make AI compliance. So what actually is AI governance engineering? Well, AI governance engineering is the practice of building systems, tools, and frameworks that make AI compliance, not manual spreadsheets and consultants, continuous, not point-in-time assessments, scalable, not one-off projects for each AI system, auditable, with evidence trails and regulatory traceability, accessible to startups and small to medium enterprises, not just Fortune 500 companies. So AI governance engineering essentially combines regulatory expertise such as the EU AI Act and the ISO 42 standards and the NIST AI RMF. There's technical knowledge, ML systems, model training, deployment pipelines, an engineering mindset, automation, tooling, infrastructure as code. You kind of think of it as DevOps for compliance, but specifically for AI systems. So here's what the AI governance industry desperately needs right now. 1. Regulatory intelligence engines, systems that parse regulatory texts and extract requirements automatically. Well, why do they need this? Well, the EU AI Act is 400 plus pages deep. ISO 42 standard is another 200 pages deep. NIST AI RMF has multiple publications, and no human can be expected to keep up with all of these changes. So what's missing? Well, automated classification engines. Is my AI system high risk under Article 6? Requirement mapping tools. Which articles apply to my use case? Change detection. What changed between draft and final EU AI Act? For example, when I built my EU AI Act classifier pattern, it can classify an AI system in 90 seconds with full regulatory citations. That's what's needed, and that's what's on my computer. Secondly, evidence automation frameworks. Systems that collect compliance evidence continuously, not just during audits. Why do we need them? Well, the EU AI Act Article 9 requires risk management documentation. Article 11 requires technical documentation. Article 12 keeps record keeping, and that's hundreds of artifacts per AI system. So what's missing? Integrations with ML platforms, weights and biases, MLflow, SageMaker, automated model card generation from training runs, version control for datasets, models and prompts, audit trails for human oversight decisions. So another example would be, instead of manually writing model cards, tools should auto-generate them from your ML metadata stores. And thirdly, risk assessment tooling. So what are they? Well, frameworks for assessing AI-specific risks, bias, transparency, robustness, and explainability. Why do we need them? Well, Article 9 requires risk management systems. ISO 42001 Clause 6.1 requires AI risk assessment, but there's no standard methodology yet. What else is missing? Bias testing protocols with statistical validation, explainability benchmarks by model type and domain, robustness testing frameworks, adversarial, distributional shift, human oversight. Another example is my bias testing protocol pattern provides structured testing procedures, but we need tooling that runs these tools automatically on model updates. We also need compliance as code platforms, infrastructure that makes compliance requirements executable, testable, and version controlled. Why do we need them? Well, just like infrastructure as code transformed DevOps, compliance as code will transform AI governance. So what's missing? Policy definition languages for AI requirements, CI/CD integration for compliance checks, declarative compliance. For example, imagine running an NPM test but for your EU AI Act compliance pattern. That doesn't actually exist yet. So what does an AI governance engineer look like? Well, if you want to work in this space or hire someone for this role, here are the skills you need. Firstly, you're going to need technical skills, and that's your ML fundamentals, understanding of training, inference, deployment, data engineering, how models consume and process data, software engineering, APIs, automation, scripting, Python and Bash, infrastructure, cloud platforms, containerization, orchestration, regulatory skills, legal interpretation, reading and understanding regulatory text, standard expertise, ISO 42001, NIST frameworks, GDPR, EU AI Act, for example. risk assessment, identifying, evaluating, and mitigating AI-specific risks, audit methodology, evidence collection, documentation, validation, maybe some engineering skills, having an automation mindset. How can I eliminate the manual work? Systems thinking, understanding interdependencies and workflows, tool building, creating reusable frameworks and patterns, documentation, making complex topics accessible. Now, this is a rare skill set. Most lawyers don't code, most engineers don't read regulatory text, and most consultants don't build tools. And that's why this discipline is emerging and why there's a massive opportunity. So why now? Well, three forces are converging to create the AI governance engineering market. First is regulatory pressure. The EU AI Act enforcement begins, and ISO 42001 was published in 2023, and adoption is slowly accelerating. The US, UK, Singapore, Canada are all developing AI regulations in their own way. Penalties can be up to 35 million or 7% of global revenue with the EU AI Act. Secondly, AI proliferation. Every company is deploying AI in some form, whether it's customer service bots, hiring tools, content generation, predictive analytics, with 82% of companies using AI according to McKinsey. 3. The economic reality. Big Four consulting, 30 to 50k per assessment, 6 to 8 week delivery. Enterprise GRC platforms, 50k to 500k a year, 6-month implementations. Startups and SMEs can't afford either option, but still need compliance like the big companies. So this is a 3.2 billion market by 2034, growing at 27.5% annually, but it's underserved because existing solutions don't work for 80% of companies deploying AI. AI governance engineering solves this by making compliance affordable, accessible, and automated. So where is this heading? Well, the future of AI governance engineering in 5 years, here's what I predict. You'll start seeing job titles for AI governance engineer, and it'll be as common as DevOps engineer. Tooling, every major AI platform will have built-in compliance tooling, like Vercel has built-in observability. Certification, professional certifications specifically for AI governance engineering beyond AIGP, open standards, community developed frameworks like CIS controls but for AI, compliance APIs, you'll query an API to check if your model is compliant, just like you query Stripe for payment status. The companies that invest in AI governance engineering now, whether by hiring, building tools, or partnering with specialists, will have a massive competitive advantage when enforcement begins. So if you're building or deploying AI systems and you're wondering how to approach governance, you have around 3 options. 1, wait for the market to mature, but enforcement starts soon. 2, hire expensive consultants, but that doesn't scale or build internal capability. 3, start building AI governance engineering into your organization now. I'm currently working on this problem from multiple angles. I'm building open source tooling for AI governance automation. I'm offering consulting to help companies implement frameworks. And I'm creating content to educate the industry on what's needed. So if you found this valuable, please subscribe for more content on AI governance engineering, regulatory deep dives, and practical compliance tooling. Thanks again for watching, and let's build this discipline together. See you soon.